Hello everyone, you welcome to this edition of The Insight. I am Bable Jonathan. The form of the state has been at the center of the socio-political and security crisis hitting the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Some Cameroonians think that the present decentralized form of the state should be maintained and enhanced. Others think that we should return to the federal system of government, while others are simply pressing for cessation. And in the midst of all these, some state officials have repeatedly said the form of the state is non-negotiable. In other words, just like cessation, federalism is a taboo and cannot be put on the discussion table, according to some senior state officials. And the President of the Republic has been talking about efforts to step up the effective implementation of decentralization in the country. And in the last cabinet meeting, ministerial cabinet meeting, the President of the Republic called on the governments to prepare for upcoming regional, legislative and municipal elections in the country, thus giving an idea on the putting in place of regional councils, though he did not mention the date when the regional elections will hold in Cameroon. It is known that legislative and municipal elections are expected this year. And speaking during the graduation ceremony of the 36th batch of the military school, Emir, at the military brigade headquarters in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, the President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, re-emphasized or reiterated his determination to bring to an end the crisis rocking the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. He equally called again on the pro-independence fighters to drop their guns, come out of the bush and join the normal trend of life. We're going to be looking at all this in this edition of the program. Stay with us and meet our guest. Our guest in this edition of the program is a politician, president of the Republican Alliance, a political party, and mayor of the Yabassi municipality in the Camp Division, littoral region of the country. Mayor Jacques Maboula, you welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm very happy to be invited today. I wish the best of, I wish prosperity, peace, and good opportunities to all the Cameroonians, mainly peace for the northwest region and the southwest region, so that we can learn to live together as brothers. If not, we'll die all like idiots. It's time for us for reconciliation and peace.
Right. How was your journey from Yabassi to Douala some years back or some months back? The state of the road linking Yabassi and Douala was in a very deplorable state. In fact, in an advanced state of dilapidation.
Yes, actually the road is fast moving. The construction is going on. We have two big companies working hardly to bring out this road as quick as possible. We have Incobat and Benz. They are doing a very great job. I think now they are doing the bridge. You cannot imagine, yesterday we were doing 6 hours Douala Yabassi. Actually we can do 2 hours from Douala to Yabassi. I think there is a great improvement. I wish other regions, other villages, departments and so on to take advantage of this great opportunity to build all the cities so that we can improve our living conditions.
All right, you put in on the traditional regalia of the Grassfield, or more precisely the northwest region of the country. What's the message behind that?
The message is that in my council I have a lot of people coming from northwest, southwest. They are integrated in Yabassi. I wish all Yabassi feel integrated also in the northwest and the southwest region, because we are now one family. We are mixed up in our bloods, in our languages, in our foods, and we should stay one family, indivisible and united by a new vision of our nation.
Okay, before we get into the main focus of this program, I would just like us to talk a little bit about the situation of Laurent Gbagbo, former Ivorian president, and his close ally, former youth minister Blé Goudé, who were declared acquitted by the International Criminal Court. They were declared acquitted of charges of crimes against humanity, and the International Criminal Court requested for their immediate liberation. But this has not happened till now. They are still in detention. What's your take on the declaration of the International Criminal Court as far as this is concerned?
The International Court has taken a good decision, a great decision, a symbolic decision, an historical decision. But the problem now is that Gbagbo is an icon in Africa. He's becoming just like the Mandela, the new Mandela for many countries. And coming back to Ivory Coast, it can bring out troubles because all the Ivorians are waiting for Gbagbo to bring back. And the Ivorians are just coming out from it. Very hard and difficult situation. We should canalize the coming back of Gbagbo so that instead of peace, we don't go back to troubles. I think they are thinking about the best way to bring back Gbagbo home. That is the main preoccupation all people, all the international community is facing actually, because, you know, Gbagbo was captured just like an animal. Now he's coming back like a savior. It can destabilize the Ivory Coast again.
And they were declared acquitted, a historic decision. For the first time, the International Criminal Court decides to declare not guilty of the charges leveled against an African head of state.
There is no doubt Gbagbo was violated in his right. Today, all the proof are out. You know, lies come through the lift, but the truth comes comes step by step. Actually, the truth is out. We know that Gbagbo was violated in all his rights, and we cannot look back in the past. We should look forward to emphasize on development, peace, progress of the entire continent. I think the only thing we should pray for us is that no president in Africa must face a situation like Gbagbo has faced in the past. We wish election to be democratic without foreign integration, implication and so on. We wish our partners, European, American and so on, to help Africa to build up its democratic process so that nobody has to go after weapons and so on to become a president.
But what is a little difficult to understand now is somebody who has been declared acquitted of charges of crimes against humanity, the charges leveled against him, he's not guilty, or they are not guilty, Laurent Gbagbo and Charles Blé, but they are still maintained in jail.
I can tell you they are symbolically in jail, yes, because as I told you, their liberation will bring troubles. They are facing that situation because political interest, strategic interest. You know, Ouattara will be in serious trouble if ever Gbagbo is back home, because normally I think the Gbagbo followers will try to come down in the street and bring back Gbagbo in the presidency.
Should he not work in the spirit of reconciliation, in the spirit of building the peace of the country, and not going back to the violence that killed so many persons during the post-election protest in 2010?
You know, that the process doesn't depend on Gbagbo actually. It's the people, because power belongs to the people. I know Gbagbo, when Gbagbo will be back at Ivory Coast, there will be a great destabilization. It's preferable for us Gbagbo stays out of Ivory Coast waiting for the next elections than going back in Ivory Coast like the elected president, and while we know that there is another president, there will be two presidents, one seat, and it will be very, very difficult. I think it is politically understand. We can understand it that in a political view, Gbagbo should stay out of Ivory Coast for now. That's my opinion, I think.
All right. Now coming to the main focus of this edition of the program, the recent developments as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. The President of the Republic, in his speech at the military brigade headquarters during the graduation ceremony of the 36th batch of the military school, Emir reiterated his determination to bring to an end the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and once more called on the pro-independence fighters to drop their guns, come out of the bushes, and return to the normal life trend. Can we expect some positive change as far as government's handling of this matter is concerned, and of course results expected on the ground?
Yes, you know, the President of State, the President of the Republic is first of all the guardian of our security. He's the guardian of our safety. He's the guardian of our daily life. It was a good idea bringing out all the citizens of the northwest and southwest to stand for their rights.
When you listen to the President, how did you receive those words expressing his determination, and at the same time calling on the pro-independence fighters to come out of the bush, and also insisting that the military will continue doing its job of protecting the territorial integrity of the country and the safety and security of persons and properties?
You know, the Anglophone crisis will not be stopped by weapons. I used to say that. We need to discuss. And I said the secessionists should understand that it was a wrong idea taking weapons against an irregular army, because I think non-violence speaks louder than weapons. Whenever you are non-violent, the international community can understand your fight, your struggle, and so on. But once you take weapons against a republic, they cannot understand you anymore, because they believe that you are bringing out troubles, and if more, you go and cutting people's hands just because they are not following up your instruction and so on. What will you tell those persons if ever the crisis stops? And then they will tell you the crisis is now stopped. How will I recover my hand, my foot, my ears, and so on? It's a wrong idea going to violence.
Now we've listened to other political leaders like John Fundi, who is the national president of the Social Democratic Front, saying if you push through the wall, the only thing that you can do is to bounce back, is to react in self-defense. And according to him, the arms came into play, the violence came into play as a response to violence coming from the other side. In self-defense, the reaction came in, and we equally remember the International Crisis Group had warned that government of Cameroon, if you don't handle this thing fast, arms are going to come into play, and the arms effectively came into play.
Yes, it was a reaction, but now they should be wise. They cannot face a regular army with weapons. Look the way we are losing lives. Mothers, grandmothers, children, and so on. Where are we going to? We are in a big shit, actually. We need to be wise and understand that it's better for us to sit, to drop the guns, and say, now we have dropped the gun, tell us where do we go from now, because we have expressed ourselves, we know what is the situation, so bring out the solution. And so the government should bring out a global plan for the northwest and the southwest region to build those regions as quick as possible for us to stand like one nation. If we leave this situation going in a situation of military face to face, we were going to lose many lives. That is not my opinion for this crisis. I think we should say we have lost a lot of lives. It's time for us to sit peacefully like brothers and discuss just to save lives and start back the construction process.
And something that for this to happen, for what you're saying now to happen, there is need for a ceasefire.
Yes, absolutely.
On both sides.
On both sides.
But the President of the Republic recently said if you don't drop your guns, referring to those he called warmongers in the northwest and southwest regions, the military will be instructed to neutralize you.
You know, to be frank with you, going in the war process will be a global bushmeat who will sacrifice a lot of lives. As I'm telling you, is not what we should wish for our nation. Actually, I pray all those secessionists to understand that there was a time to face each other. Now it's time to sit like brothers. They should drop down this gun. What will happen to all these kids in the bush after 5-10 years of war, without instruction, without training? What will they become? Bandits and so on? No. We have started a process of negotiation of our rights. If today we say we are going to secession, what will all these Anglophones have that have invested in Francophone zone, what will they become? They will drop, they will leave all their investment and go back to Anglophone zone? No, it's a wrong solution. I think secession is not an option. What will happen if tomorrow another region say, I want secession? We are a nation, we are a republic. In republic we discuss. We don't bring out solutions just like I said yesterday. I think my fathers were wrong going into the unity and so on. We should divide now and go back to a federal state or secession and so on. No. I think all these Anglophones today, if they are graduated, some are doctors, PhD and so on, postgraduates and so on, because our forefathers have decided the best way for us to be in peace. Because the violence we faced in the decolonization process was more than what we are facing actually. But to save our lives, to bring us in a peaceful nation, so that we can go to school, train and become people like we are today, they decided to drop the gun down and to build a nation. They were more wise than us. We are all, today we are postgraduates and so on. With all this graduation and so on, we cannot understand that it is better for all our villages to continue living in peace, in a safe and trustful manner, instead of going to a war that where they will lose all their lives. There are people living in America and so on, London. Why they cannot come and fight here? I think no. When you go to school, is to enlighten those who are not who have no instruction. We cannot fool these guys going into war, taking drugs and so on. I say no. Yes. We should come back in a wise solution. The wise solution is to take inspiration of our forefathers that put the base of a solid nation. Their misunderstanding, their mismanagement of resources is not only the Anglophone region facing that, Yabasi also, but we face it democratically. We can go back discussing decentralization and so on.
All right, we'll be coming back to that shortly when we're going to talk about the form of the state. Though government has repeatedly said, okay, the disarmament, demobilization and reintegration committee has been created. Come out of the bush, we will receive you, treat you well, protect you, and reintegrate you into the normal life training. But a civil society leader asked me the question with regards to the uncertainty in our country today, where a senior state personality like Justice Ayapola Bine, a senior Supreme Court magistrate, a senior Supreme Court judge, is arrested and detained for more than 100 days without the charges being revealed to him, is arrested. Will they come out of the bush?
Yes, you don't.
To be arrested? Would they come out of the bush to be killed? The civil society leader asked me that question.
I told you at the beginning, I prefer those guys come out from the bush and take out with a non-violence approach. If they are arrested, the world community, international community, will see that they dropped the guns and they are being arrested for their rights. And the process will go on. I prefer they stay in life, in prison if that will be the case, and we will see how we will not find out a solution with people claiming their rights and going for a non-violent process to save our nation. They should do that, and we will judge. We are all witnessing what is going on in our reformation. I pray those guys to drop the gun and come so that they arrest them.
So that the killings, the destruction of property and all whatnot can cease. Because all of those things are happening because of the gun battles between the armed civilians and the military, where people are killed, properties are destroyed, whole villages are burnt down. Are you saying that they should come out so that all these things can cease, and then
let them prove that they are willing one thing: peace and justice. Let them come out, and if ever they are being arrested, killed in the face of the world, we will see that they were right and they have been killed for their right, and the international community will take out of that. I can tell you, trust me, non-violence is powerful than weapons. If they go back to non-violence approach, I can tell you they will be more credible than the government. It was a good idea claiming their right, but it was a wrong solution going to the arms. We are one nation. Let them come up. Let them come out from the bush. Let them drop their gun in the face of the world and say, we have decided to stop the war and discuss. And we will see what the future will reserve to all this nation. I think they will not be the only region to claim for their right.
And the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, acknowledged himself during his speech to the nation that it appears his call on them to come out of the bushes is not receiving a favorable response from the other side. And one of the guests we received on our 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox television said if people, opinion leaders, so-called Amazonian leaders like Sisiku, Ayuktabe, and those who are in jail, the other 9 who were arrested in Nigeria, particularly Sisiku Ayuktabe, is released today, and he calls those pro-independence fighters to come out of the bush, there will be a response.
You know, it's just putting condition. I think we are in a process. The government, the President of the Republic decided to arrest Sisiku because he's the leader of the secessionists. And he decided that not lonely, because you see, if Nigeria respond to what asked the President Paul Biya, is that there is an international complot for the arrestation of Sisiku Ayuktabe. He should prove that he has the goodwill for peace and political solution of that crisis by appealing from his prison his people to drop down the guns, and we see what we will face in the future. He should prove that he's a builder, not a man, not a leader wishing destruction of our nation. I think Sisiku should be wise now and call for peace and dropping down the guns.
All right, we're going to take a look at what the newspapers reported this week. The press review by Fomi Armstrong Sandan. When we come back, we'll talk about the form of the state.
The Post, Monday, January 14. Wilbert wants Anglophone diaspora to unite to face consequences. The Voice, Honorable Wilbert implores UK to intervene to stop genocide in southern Cameroon. The media reported fireworks at the military tribunal. Sisiko Ayuk's trial turns into ping-pong over nationality. The Star newspaper, Sisiko Ayuk Tabe and others, case adjourned over nationality question. The Garden Post said relatives weep as frail-looking Sisiko appears in court. The Sun, trial of Sisiko Ayuk Tabe and co. Court adjourns over nationality arguments. The Rambler, why they are fueling a war without end. On the horizon, Kavaye usurps Nat's power again. In another edition, the Horizon newspaper said Frundi tells Biya he is misled by selfish advisors. Back to the Garden Post, Anglophone crisis, Herculean tax for governments in Northwest and Southwest in 2019. The Post weekender said Biya announces regional elections. The Median, Southwest misses out again. Ebamilike takes over management of Sonara. The Garden Post, 36 passengers kidnapped along Boyakumba Highway. And in another edition, the paper said Treasury Director General assures civil servants of regular salaries despite fall in oil prices and multiple security challenges. Eden, ICC acquits Bagbo of all charges.
Thanks for me, Armstrong Sanda. May Jacques Maboula, president of the Republican Alliance political party and mayor of the Yabassi municipality in the Kam Division, Littoral region of Cameroon, the form of the state has been at the center of this crisis ever since it quickly switched from a peaceful protest by teachers and lawyers to an armed conflict. Some think that the present decentralized form of the state should be maintained and enhanced to effective decentralization, as the President of the Republic has been talking for some time now. Others think that we should return to the federal system of government, and this is the message of the Social Democratic Front, a return to the federal system of government, while others are pressing for secession. Where is Mayor Jacques Maboula in all of this? Where is your stand?
You know, the United Cameroon is an heritage from our forefathers. In the past, I don't believe there were so much problems. But with the actual governing system, many areas are put aside of the national resources. And the Anglophone region more because of their linguistic apartments and so on. I think all this mismanagement will not find solution in the form of the state, but in the principle of sharing our resources. Because if you sleep without eating, it's because some people have got the food, you have not got yours. You understand? If there is road for someone, there should be road everywhere. If some people have the light, water, and better schools and so on, there should be equal right for everyone. The rules of sharing our resources has not been decided. All our resources are being managed by few peoples.
That's because of what some critics call the super centralized, in which we function.
Super centralized, but dark management of our resources. We should have transparent management of our resources. We should know what is being done with every franc of CFA. What is not the case actually in our nation. We should put basis of transparent management of our resources with equal affectation to every village, council, region, and so on. That is not the form of the state, the principle of management of our resources. Just like in your family, when you wake up in the morning, you know that you have 5 kids. If you have 500, it's 100 for each. Maybe you can give more to the one who is far out, who have a long distance from the house to his school. But you try to be a good father who gives everything to everyone. There is no children going to school without books, while others have books. The nation should be rethink in a transparent manner. That's what I understand as a mayor and president of the Republican Alliance.
And the Social Democratic Front political party, for example, thinks that what you're saying can be a reality in Cameroon, that is equitable management and distribution of the national cake, I want to put it that way, or resources of the country, can only happen in a federal system of government, where in the regions, those who are elected and those who are in charge will be directly accountable to the people.
That's wrong, because what is happening actually can happen in the federal state if you don't have transparent and equal principle of distribution. That is, I take for example, we go back to a two-state, federal two-state. That is Anglophone, they go one side, and the Francophone. Suddenly the Southwest said, no, we don't agree with what the Northwest is saying, and so on. They will ask also for a secession. You understand? Suddenly the far north said, no, we don't agree with what you are giving us as resources. There is something wrong. There are more borrowed having more money than. We'll go back to the same problem. Should we go back to secession again? No. I think when you are clear, transparent, and objective, no matter bigger your nation is, everyone can feel proud of what is being done. But when you are in a school, you sit down without board, without bench, and so on, while some people are going to school in air-conditioned situations, you will be frustrated. The same condition I'm asking for the people living in Batibo, Bengu, and so on is the same condition I'm asking for the people in Yabasi. If they are going to school by bus, we should go also to school by bus. If they are going in university freely without paying tax and so on, we should do the same. We cannot build a nation with two measures, while some people are well treated, whereas the others are living just like animals, without water, without resources, and so on. If there is food for everyone, there should be food for all the nation. If there are school for everyone, there should be school for every nation, for every territory. Roads, water, light, and better living condition. Increase the means of living daily, because our resources, actually, I'm not the only one. The World Bank has said that, many other organizations. We cannot live with the resources we are having, with the income we are having actually. The cost of renting, the cost of transport, health, and so on, education, no. We should come back to an objective process of bringing back trust, pride, and faith in our nation.
Are you saying that in the present system, the management of the resources of the Republic of Cameroon is biased?
It's a very wrong management process we are facing. I can say that because I'm mayor. You see, we are starting the decentralization process. For now, you have some regions that have 3 times resources than others. Some even have more than they can build, even sport palace and so on, doing spoil the money even. While some are lacking just water to drink. You understand? That way of managing is the bad way. We should affect resources for water access, light access, electricity, social housing, sport infrastructure for every council and so on. Build up a process where everyone can be proud to stay in every village without emphasizing on, without planning to go in cities like Douala and Yaoundé. You know, if I have all those situations, if we have all these infrastructure, sport equipment, social housing, industries, transforming our wood locally and so on, what will I come to do in Douala? I will not come here. I will stay in Yabassi, enjoy my life, sell my woods or my equipment, benches and so on. And I will not even plan to come here, because with all this traffic jam and so on, I think I will feel very, very happy to stay in my house. I have been in Babenda and many other areas. I don't see what those guys will come to find in Douala if they have all this investment in their cities.
Of course,
you can come back there.
Of course, what you're highlighting is part of the problem that sparked the coffin revolution of Mancho BBC in Bamenda, which led to the explosion of the Anglophone crisis. I remember he was talking about bad roads in Bamenda. He was talking about other social problems in Bamenda. And some simply think that if decentralization is effective, these problems are going to be automatically solved.
Absolutely.
Because competencies and financial resources will be adequately transferred to the local councils, who will be able to develop their areas, while others think that if the regional councils are put in place, like the President of the Republic announced the regional elections, this is going to solve many of these problems. Others equally say no. If we have our regional presidents elected, regional officials, in other words, elected, these people are going to be directly accountable to the population, and so they're going to be compelled in one way or the other to solve these problems, to handle or manage the resources equitably. So where is your stand? Decentralization or federalism?
Decentralization. I'm for decentralization. Why? Because decentralization is achieving our unity process. Decentralization is appointing people in whom you trust. Because if you have a regional president, if you don't trust him, you will not vote for him. And if he does not work like you want, the next election you will not appoint him. Decentralization is making every region become responsible of their future. Decentralization is cost less than whatever we are thinking. Federalism is just a venture to an unknown destination. I'm sure that what we are facing actually is a good thing.
We're in the federal state before, and Nigeria next door is in the federal system. And
what happened? The last speech of President Aijo, he said the federal process is costly. I think the ratio was third quarter of the functioning fees, the functioning cost for the federalism. So to reduce all those costs, he said we should come back to unity so that all these federal structures should disappear and we can finance directly our economy. If I said so, federalism is a new journey to new charges, and I don't believe all Cameroonians will handle the process. We are now in a process where I can sit with Babila, discuss like brothers, exchange with many other people, do many things together. We have got a best example, our Indebble Lions, where we had Tato Itase, Femdi Bakem and so on. There were many trophies and so on. I think that is a symbol of decentralization, where every talent is being counted for the glory of the nation. We can continue achieving this process by defining clearly what will be the objective by region, so that nobody should say, I've been put aside during the journey for a better republic.
After so many decades, the President of the Republic announced during the last ministerial cabinet meeting the holding of regional elections, even though he did not talk about the date. This is something that was enshrined in the 1996 Constitution, and it is only now that we are talking about it. Was it good news to you?
What I would like to say is that I'm not crying after the past. I'm facing the future. There have been so many bad things done during these last decades. The Anglophone crisis is calling upon our conscience to see where we want to go now. Are we going to separate like enemies and so on, or continue living together? I think if you come in the Yabasi, you will see how many Anglophones are there living peacefully and proudly. They don't even think about going back in their original areas. They are very happy there. There are also many people living in southwestern region, northwest region, that were francophone and so on. They were not even thinking about coming back in francophone zones. I think we should take advantage of this diversity to build a proud and strong nation. It is possible. I have many friends of mine that are Anglophone. They come to my house, we discuss, we are brothers and so on. We are not afraid of each other. I think, why do you want us to go back in solution that, I don't know if it is even solution to options that can be troubles tomorrow. Let's go back to what is our heritage and take advantage of all these mistakes we have faced, because we know what was wrong. We can correct it now and take advantage of our potential. We have a lot of potential. Let's take advantage on that to build a prosperous, strong and proud nation. It is possible. I think if tomorrow you are the regional president of Northwest, of Southwest, you understand that it is not Yaoundé will mismanage the resources that being transferred to you. You will be the incarnation of the destiny of the Southwest or the Northwest. Because if tomorrow you continue paying a worker in the farm for 10 hours daily, 500 francs, you'll be a bad president of region. We can define new living condition now and increase the means of living daily. It's our responsibility, not Biya's responsibility.
No.
Because Biya has done his job, I think our generation should think a new and proud nation, actually, and everything starts now.
The President of the Republic announced the holding of regional elections, and decentralization has been putting on for quite a number of years, so many years, and till today, some critics still qualify it as limping the decentralization process of Cameroon, and that's probably why the President of the Republic is calling for effective decentralization.
Absolutely.
And what should be done? What should be done as far as this form of the state is concerned, so that it should be effective and produce the right results?
Look, the effective decentralization is simple. As I explained, you just take out a decree creating all these regions. That is, you know, we are 10 regions actually. And you say, for every region, I will affect, let's say, 50 billion. Specifically for road construction, water access, electricity, sport and equipment centers, socio-economical infrastructures, social housing, industrialization process, and education, health, and so on. They are free to have partners with other areas of the world so that they can improve railways, many other aircraft, and so on. You see, if every president of region has the capacity of partnering with the international, covered by the finance, the national finance, we'll have 10 regions going faster at the same speed, maybe some more than others because they have good managers, and you will see that in less than 5 years, we'll see a global transformation of our nation. It is possible. It is possible. It's just goodwill, good decision taking. I'm sure if you are the president of the railway construction in the Northwest and you have the capacity of partnering with Chinese or France or England and so on to build the railways, to bring the TGV and so on, bring out transportation,
high-speed trains.
Yes, that high-speed train. That is you. I can tell you, in less than 5 years, we'll be an emerging country.
All right, we're going to take interviews of the week right now, and we'll be back in a short while.
The women are the ones now keeping the communities alive.
They
are the ones holding the communities together. They have to make their voice heard and let Yaoundé know that this situation is no longer acceptable and we are not going to accept it, and they have to find a solution.
We thought we could fix a date for that meeting. Having thought seriously about the date, we all agreed that enough consultation has not been done. That is why we're sending missions to America and Europe, and within the country to the chiefs, and to other English-speaking Cameroonians. So we decided that we couldn't fix a date today and change it again tomorrow. As soon as we get the results of this extensive consultation that we want to organize within and outside the country, the date and the place will immediately be announced.
If we are going to survive, we have to survive together. And so anything that is happening in the midst of the crisis that is not for common good is not healthy. And so my appeal is, whatever you are doing, wherever you are doing it, you need to be asking the bigger question: how does this serve the common good of the country, not just of the group that I represent?
We do not have any of the leaders of the churches or religious bodies who is a woman. That woman would have been brought into this convenance meeting. We hope that at the different stages where we'll be involving everyone and bringing everybody on board, women leaders will come in.
The first criteria was that you should be native of Anglophone Cameroon. There are two. Either it is a nativist, that is your father and your mother are from Northwest and Southwest, otherwise known as Southern Cameroon or West Cameroon after unification, or your parents settled there before 1961. Those are the criteria, because you will know really the problem that the Anglophones are undergoing. Then the other aspect is that other Cameroonians, because it's the Anglophones are Cameroonians, whether we like it or not, and we cannot solve the Anglophone problem in isolation. Other Cameroonians who are not Anglophone will come as well as observers, because that's the reason why right now we are going to carry out, as the moderator has said, a consultation of all Cameroonians across the board.
I'm praying that God should bless the efforts of this committee so that we come up with peaceful solutions to this, because with the speeches that Mr. B has made, they've made the boys more angry, and they've intensified their approach on the field, and now just attacking anybody. So we are calling on everybody to collaborate with us for the thorough preparation of this very important meeting, where we will have to let the world know what are our problems. Our main aim is not to take the place of any person in Cameroon. We're meeting as religious leaders to propose to the head of state what Cameroonians, English-speaking Cameroonians think are the causes of the present socio-political problems, and what do we as religious leaders propose as solutions, and then ask the head of state to call a national meeting of dialogue.
The President of the Republic is constant in saying that this year we are going to have local councils, our regional councils put in place. So we are making sure that everything that is necessary for that is put in place, and mainly what concerns the National Assembly. We have to enlarge the competencies of the local communities to make sure that local development is a reality. We intend, if possible, to organize a very important meeting where we are going to resemble all the local communities, all our people who are involved in decentralization, to talk about it and to improve it.
I thank God for all the grace on me since now. I thank the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, for the confidence made to me by appointing me in this important function of General Manager of Sonara. We will work together with the government, the board, and all the staff to achieve the objective of the government to make that Sonara is a competitive company.
An excitement that I received the news of the board chair of Sonara. I want to give God all the thanks. I thank him so much. And also I want to thank the head of state for the confidence he has accorded to me to this prestigious establishment. It is a sensitive area. It will be a difficult job. Somebody has to do it, and I will do the job.
Those were interviews of the week. Jacques, Maboula, you listened to Christian Cardinal Tumi, Archbishop Emeritus of the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese, the Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba, moderator of the PCC, as well as the President of the Cameroon Baptist Convention, and other organizers of the Anglophone General Conference. What's your take on that meeting?
What I would say is that the All Anglophone Conference is a good idea, but a very waste of time putting in place this structure, because while we are trying to know how to put it in place, there are still people being killed, there are still properties being destroyed, there are still companies closing down, there are still people losing hope in our nation. The only solution I will have is that.
But the organizers want to bring the Anglophones together to discuss, to find a way out of the crisis, to stop the killing, the destruction, and so on.
It's a it is good initiative. A simple initiative is calling that the All Anglophone ceasefire. The Cardinal and all those leaders, they go and meet Sisiku and the others. They discuss for a ceasefire, so that they come out with a white sheet of ceasefire, and then we will face the goodwill of the government also. That will take us, let's say, 1 month, 2 months, but it will be practical. Once we obtain the ceasefire from these leaders, secessionist leaders, we can go out for a reconstruction process with new basis. I think
is it not
we
important
will take advantage.
To bring everybody on board? To get everybody?
I think you can do it, but what I'm telling you is that it's a long process, a very long process. It's 1 year, quite 2 years we have been talking about the whole conference. Maybe while trying to organize that, we'll spend again 1 year, 2 years. A bloodshed will continue.
And it has been postponed twice because the government has not.
That's why I'm telling you it's a good idea.
For the
but the idea is not operational. Who will apply the resolution of the Anglophone conference? Who?
The resolutions will be taken to Yaoundé according to the conveners.
How much time?
Who will?
That's why I'm telling you it's a long process. I'm practical. That is, the government has not given his authorization for that, actually.
And that is what has been delaying the holding of the conference.
That's why I'm telling you it's a very long process. I think I have a lot of respect of all these spiritual leaders, what they need to do actually to be operational in the short term is asking to discuss with the secessionist leaders so that they can come out with a white paper of ceasefire.
All right, you are the president of one of the newest political parties in Cameroon, the Republican Alliance. What's the objective of this other political party among the more than 200 that exist?
The specificity of Republican Alliance is improving and increasing the means of living daily of every citizen by bringing Cameroon to an industrial and solidar republic. The missing step of our whole nation is the lack of industrialization of our process, wood, stones, minerals, and so on. Farming process is still just like in the past. We need to modernize our agriculture. I don't think only the elites should have tractors in their farms. I think modernizing the agriculture should be accessible to the poor, not only for the rich people. We need to put in place cooperatives of modernized farming equipment. We need to transform locally our woods. We need to transform locally our cities, creating better comfort, residential comfort everywhere, social housing, sport equipment centers, and so on, bringing our income to increase, because if we industrialize all our nation, we'll reduce our dependence upon other nations. We need to produce maize to feed our animals, farm, cattle, and so on. We need to produce locally more to reduce our dependence regarding rice and so on, many other things. We can supply what all these brasseries are importing today. That will create a lot of jobs. We have all these imports being done actually. We can bring out a lot of labor and handcraft so that people can work daily and in all the villages.
Like every other political party, you're certainly looking forward to seize power in the next presidential election in order to implement all this. But in the meantime, the legislative and the municipal elections are expected this year. Will you be taking part?
Absolutely. We are discussing, we are planning to go in the next election to come so that we can have people being our advocate in the parliament, defending our vision so that we can build a prosperous nation. We need to keep up fighting for our right of our living condition. The Republican Alliance wish to have in all the nation some representative to build up the industrial and solidar republic as our global objective. We should know where we go now so that we can know how we have achieved our objective.
What have you been doing to prepare for the upcoming elections?
For the next coming election, I'm discussing with some representatives in many areas. In Yabassi particularly, we are working with the population. With other regions, we have people interested in our vision that want to, those people wish to be our mayors in those councils or our parliamentarian in those areas. I think it's not the place to discuss our strategy.
All right, Mayor Jacques Maboula, the mayor of the Yabassi municipality in the county division of the littoral region of Cameroon, president of the Republican Alliance political party. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm very grateful for the invitation. God bless our nation for peace to come back as soon as possible.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for this edition of the program. Bye.